At Pan Am 360, I have the great pleasure to interview Wadada Leo Smith, who I know since I'm a teenager and I'm 66. So Leo Smith, originally from Mississippi State, became a professional musician early because he comes from a blues family, if I understood, and he became a jazz musician and a creative musician all his life. So around 50 albums have been recorded by Leo Smith as a leader, and we can name a lot of collaborations with Anthony Braxton, Andrew Cyrille, Leroy Jenkins, Henry Kaiser, Bill Lswell, Maurice McIntyre, Matthew Shipp, John Zorn. So it tells a lot.
Yes, that's correct. Basically, most of my recordings are my projects. The one that you mentioned there is nearly all of the collaborations that I did. But of those 50 that's out there, 40 of them is all projects of my music. I have quite a bit of music recorded.
Yeah.
And yes, 10 Freedom Summer was the Pulitzer Prize finalist in 2013. Most people kind of look at that as being the apex, but I have surpassed all of that as of last year. I did America Transform, which is 12 hours and a half of music over 4 days. So 10 Freedom Summer was what is it, 6.5 hours of music over 3 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You tend to love very long pieces, huge projects. I remember when you came at Victoriaville Festival a few years ago, you performed this excellent music, and this other project was huge. So you love to build big buildings of music.
Yeah, because if you have a lot of stuff to get out, you have to find the vehicle to put it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And your recent projects were Fire Illumination in 2022-23.
Yes.
And excellent duo projects with Amina Claudine Myers,
Correct.
Mosaics of Reservoir, which is an excellent duo project with a pianist that I love too. So you're always usually active.
Yes.
Do you stop sometimes?
Do I rest?
Do you rest? Do you stop sometimes?
Not really. I mean, I don't see myself as being put here on the planet to rest. I'm here to work. And working is what you do when you live by yourself and you don't have no interruptions or distortions coming into the picture. So I work. That's part of my livelihood as well as joy.
Exactly. So work and joy and pleasure are totally in a fusion process with you.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And some artists stop for 3 years. They don't necessarily create. They don't record. They don't compose. And after they come back. And other artists, while they're not very numerous, they are always working, like you or John Zorn or Bob Dylan, or guys that are always working all the time. And maybe it's the best method because you always stay close to possible inspiration.
Well, inspiration, once you learn how to receive it, you can get it anytime. That's why it's people like Anthony Braxton and we're probably two of the most waking people on the planet. And I don't mean going out performing. I mean actually creating works of art. And we do that consistently over and over and over and over. And I find him being something that we would call a creative soulmate. And I don't know what other people do, but I do know that this notion of being able to trigger your inspiration whenever you need it, that's a major key to master for an artist. Duke Ellington showed the way, and many other people did. But mainly, he showed how you do that, not how you actually map it, but the contents of it,
Yes, I see. And it would take us 1 day or two to just go through your career and the changes of your music. But
Yes.
maybe we can try to ask you this question about the recent years. So
Okay.
the 3 albums, for example, you also recorded an album with Scandinavian musicians recently, and you've been in a duo process. And Fire Illumination is more with an electric group. So those are the recent works. So maybe we can see the last changes, because you always change. So which is
well, rather than going through that project out of Copenhagen, that was a collective thing done 10 to 12 years ago, 80 years ago. The most recent music that should be impacted in our conversation is the 12-string quartet. What would be presented in Montreal would be the Central Park, the Mosaic Central Park pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And that's piano and trumpet. Sylvie Courvoisier, who's a magnificent pianist, and I are going to present all 6 of those pieces, along with 2 pieces that we will probably create in the midst of them. So it's a fantastic project. It looks at really unique spots in Central Park that I have visited over the last 20 years during my life. And I decided that I would celebrate them.
Oh yeah. Well, Central Park is a great park. It's a great environment to be inspired and to go. Montreal is not far from New York, so we go often to this great Manhattan resource. And it's a pleasure always to be there, to walk, to run, to see people. So it's been a great inspiration for you.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's going to be a very different with Sylvie Courvoisier.
Sylvie Courvoisier is a creative artist. Her performance of Central Park is just going to be another version of how that music sounds with her and me. The version I did with Amina Claudine Myers is a version of how it sounds in the studio as a version. And then if I do the same project with Vijay Iyer, it would be again this whole another version of how to create that music in the present moment, because we're not going with fixed versions of each piece. We're going with creative versions of each piece so that they actually materialize something that's unique and different from the recording, different from the last duet that was done. You know, it's a beautiful experience of how to explore creative music, I would say.
Of course, those 3 examples are an illustration of all the possibility of improvisation music.
Well, no,
Because
not
everybody
improvisation
has
music, not improvisation music, creative music. I have to insist, because I've been talking about creative music for like 50 years. And everybody talking about improvisation. I don't do improvisation. I create. Sylvie Courvoisier, Amina, VJ, they all use the word, but I don't. For 50 years, I have not used that word as part of my music. The last time I referenced it, I'm just telling you so that you're having a good idea. The last time I referenced improvisation was in 8 notes, creative music, or new world music in my notes. That was the last time I referenced it. And that record was called 6 Improvisation, Creative Music, 6 Improvisation. Since then, I've changed.
Yes, I understand. I also understand that improvisation is not totally, is not necessarily a good term, because when we compose in real time, it's composition. It's not.
No, it's not composition. It's creative music. Is what I'm trying to say. The music we produce is creative music. Just like when you take a coffee bean and you grind it up, as an illustration, you grind it up, and if your grind is good and if your bean is good, you're gonna get a beautiful cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And the same thing with when we get these instruments, interaction between our head and heart together, what we produce is creative music. All those terms like improvisation, like composing, interpretation, all these things, They're stuff that's way over there. Creating is something entirely different. It's just like God did, except smaller as a man, as a human being.
So you mean that creation music cannot be fragmented by other concepts. It's all unique and fused.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to set the record straight because I'm 82 years old now, and it's time for people to believe what I say. And some of these guys over the last 50 years, they do really weird stuff, like say, well, Wadada calls his improvisation create. Well, that's a lie. Create is different than the difference between the sun and Jupiter.
Yeah. Create, involve some spontaneous ideas or older ideas in our mind. That's it.
Yeah. You have to, in order to make a creation or create a piece of music, you got to have inspiration. That authenticates it and makes it real.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who learns some notes and pitches can construct something and call it something. But without inspiration, it's a void vessel that has no purpose.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And it may sound great. That's not what I'm saying. It may sound great, but it won't last, because inspiration is what the prophets received. Inspiration is what the artists received. The guy that built the Central Park. Central Park is a constructed creation. He had to have inspiration to do that. You couldn't just lump this stuff together and say, this is Central Park.
You know that Montreal, our biggest park, is designed by Olmsted.
I have to see it. I'm gonna be there 3 days.
Yeah, so it's on the mountain. It's the biggest park in Montreal, and it's been designed at the end of the 19th century.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, see that he was a creative artist.
Of course.
I would say he's a creative artist.
Yeah. Cool. And you're going to perform with Sylvie Courvoisier.
Yeah.
The duet you've recorded for the Central Park Mosaics of Reservoir project.
Uh-huh.
But also, as you said, you recorded with people in Copenhagen, but also this fire illumination. Can you talk about that? Because it's still
yes. Well, fire illumination is a lot of people refer to it as electric music, but I still see it as creative music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't mind the title of electric music, but I'm just saying that I prefer to think of it just as another ensemble that expresses how to make creative music. Fire illumination was a long part of a long project. There are 2 projects that came out of it over a four-year period. Fire illumination is the electric part. There's another one that's called Constellations and Hemispheres. That's coming out hopefully in the spring of next year. That's with an acoustic ensemble and some mixing of the electric music with electric bass and electric guitar ensemble. But the idea of fire illumination was that everything was put together in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I build pieces and rebuild pieces. For example, the piece Fire Illumination itself on the record was completely built. It was built. None of it happened simultaneously. It was completely built.
Mm-hmm.
You see, yeah. And the Dark Matter piece on the acoustic one represent this idea about multiple universes.
Mm-hmm.
Parallel universes. So what I do is I construct 4 different ensembles that move through and represent those 4 different types of universe, but have them manifest through an ensemble so that we can kind of hear the idea being manifested, and that is not just a philosophy that scientists talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. It starts off with, I believe, like 8 or 9 people, and it ends up with 3 people.
Yeah, so it's a sort of, as we say in French, géométrie variable. So it's a different geometry.
Yeah, it is. It is because because you see this whole philosophical notion about multiple universe, that there's supposed to be multiple examples in other aspects that we call universes.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be expressed through music if you use ensembles. If you just use one ensemble, you can't express that because it represents only one universe.
Mm-hmm. Do you still identify yourself as a Rastafari?
No, I'm well, since 2000 and I'm since 1998.
Mm-hmm.
I was reverted to Islam.
Okay.
So since 1998, I have been Islam. I've actually been on Hajj, year of 2000. I went to Mecca on Hajj, and yeah, I'm Muslim.
Are you Sufi?
Well, no one is a Sufi that says he's a Sufi.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a student of Sufism.
Yeah, but this is the very refined way to be a Muslim in a way.
Yes, indeed, yes.
The highest point of spirituality in the Muslim world.
Yeah. All the mystics in all those traditions are represent that zone. Yeah,
Sure. So it attracts you, of course, I suppose.
Yeah. Just like the early Christians had a set of mystics.
Yeah.
You know, Judaism has a set of mystics, and they all represent that esoteric, selected knowledge. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a student of that tradition.
Excellent. And so you're coming back in Montreal. You have a long story with Montreal.
Yes.
You came since the 70s or something like that, early 80s.
Yes.
I remember you playing downtown in the early 80s. You with different ensembles. Yeah.
Yes. Montreal has been a great city for me.
Yeah.
You know,
and
last time I was there, I think I was there like six years ago. Before I did I was there once before I did the big project.
The Victoriaville.
Victoria, yeah. I was there once in Montreal before then, and actually Anthony Braxton and I played Montreal. We did a duet there.
Yeah.
So I've been there many times. Yes.
Yeah, sure. About the impact of the Pulitzer Prize on your career, do you have it? Did it have a huge impact, average impact, small impact?
The Pulitzer Prize, I was just a finalist in that. That means that there were 4 people.
I know, but when we're finalists, it's a great honor. You know?
Oh yes, no. I would believe that the impact was instrumental in boosting not only my career but making people realize that a work the size of 10 Freedom Summer would be something that people would go and hear, because it was played in Europe, in several countries in Europe. It's played in Canada. It was played in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And they're over. Look, the last tour of 10 Freedom Summer was 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And it was of 4 southern cities: Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
all back to back.
Wow.
A magnificent journey. And to tell you the truth, there were people from Dallas and Houston and New Orleans that traveled to all 4 of them by car and train. That to me was a great way of achieving, because 10 Freedom Summer, that was the last time it was performed as a collective, because the whole thing was done. And we did it over 4 days, and each day we added 1 or 2 new pieces to it.
Yeah.
So that each performance could be different for the people in Dallas or Houston or New Orleans or the University of Alabama.
Well, every concert of Wadada Leo Smith are different. So
yes.
this is the way the creation process works
Mhm.
out every
Yes.
night.
Yes, sir. That's
Yes.
exactly right.
So we're very happy, and it's an honor for me to have interviewed you, Wadada. And we're very happy to have you back in Montreal. And we hope that you have a good journey again at the new Flux Festival as,
Yes.
the main artist of this first edition.
That's beautiful. And I hope you understand that I look to see you and say hello.
We
Please.
will, I will, without a doubt, I will say you hello.
Yes, please, sir. And thank you so much for the honor of interviewing me. And love talking to you.
Thank you. Same with me. So have a good continuation. You seem to be in a great shape. So
Yeah, let me give you one secret today. I'm just about to finish up an 8 trumpet commission that I received.
Oh wow!
It's for a group out of Germany, and I broke it into 2 quartets of 4 trumpets each, all multiple pitch trumpets, not all B flats, all different pitches. And today I'm after I finish with you, I'm gonna finish my coffee and then my tea, and I'm gonna finish it up today. And I'm really kind of happy about that.
Cool. So cool.
Just want to tell you that.
Cool.
Okay.
Lovely. So have a good trip in Montreal. We'll talk to you very soon.
Yes. Thank you. Peace out.
Bye bye now.